But what got you started, and if you were 22, 23 today, like myself, with no clue where to begin, where would your first move be?
Just go basically, eat shit, eat crow, whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
for probably a year or two. So the problem we realized in our industry, you're in real estate, I'm in real estate, we're talking about real estate,
Yeah.
is we solve the problem of insecurity. And so right now, all those little bullshit things that you're thinking about that you got to do, that's time consuming, I don't want to do them, and they're dumb. It's just all the little crap that you got to do, the 100 lists I just told you about that you got to do. What are you waiting for?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Straight to the Point. I'm your host, Tristan Guerrero. I have here another special guest, Kenny Simpson.
You're getting the K&K special.
Exactly, right?
Everybody shortened our name. Yeah, they're like, they used to say Crystal and Kenny, and then one of our clients one time just said K&K. Goes, sorry, but I'm not going to keep typing your name, so everybody calls us K&K. That's kind of how we came up with the K&K on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was a client that did it. We're like, okay, and then we just started saying we're K&K, and that's how it all flows. Yeah. So thanks for having me on. Good to be here.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you coming on and hosting in your office here.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Let's give the audience a little background, like how we met, what you do, and what you are right now.
Yeah, so we met through Rich Summers. I'm sure your audience probably knows who he is, but so I'm here in San Diego, and gosh, I'm going to age myself here. So I got in this business in 2004. I was actually in college and was over college because I was paying for it and going, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know why I'm here. So just like Crystal, if she didn't tell you she never finished, I never finished. Yeah. My friends were all making money in real estate. So this was 2004 when real estate was booming. It was going crazy and everybody's making money. So I said enough of this, went in and went into the mortgage business. And actually I started off as a processor, and then quickly with a buddy of mine, we kind of built a branch and we were off to the races. And then 2008 hit, and that was like a rug getting pulled out while you're getting punched in the face at the same time. Man. So it's much different than now. It's much different because back then, now everybody has equity values, the stock market's up, and people have jobs. Back then, even if you just take the mortgage crisis out and nobody wanted to do loans and imploded, values were down, in some areas 50, 60, 70%. People are losing jobs, businesses. 120 lenders within 6 months went out of business. Stock market's down, and the vibe around everywhere was like not good. Like you're just seeing people lose their house, lose their business. So it's a very different vibe. And so right now I tell people the difference in real estate is rates are higher, not as many transactions, not as many deals. Crystal's kind of industry I always say is a little bit in the depression because rates are high, but you're still seeing people have equity, they have value, they can tap into it. They could get out and sell their house. They're not really underwater. Right. I mean, when you went into 2008, 25% of people were already underwater.
Wow.
Right now, I don't know, the last statistics I read, it was like 3 to 5% when the pandemic hit, whatever, we call that a crisis, right? Because it was kind of a crazy time. That's how many people were underwater at that time, but then kind of values went up. So,
wow. Data
is much different. The loans we were doing were much different. So now you've got 95% of people are locked in on 5% or less mortgage. Maybe 5-7% of the mortgages out there are ARMs. Back then, 35% of mortgages, I think, were ARMs.
That's a crazy jump.
Exactly. So I'm a data guy, you might know. So I know the data well. So when you know the data, you just erase all the noise, all that stuff, because data just trumps everything. So like right now, we're just sitting here today shooting this as we went through probably a very volatile week with tariffs and things like that, right?
Right.
But what most people care about in our industry is like, holy crap, the rates went down, the rates went up. And so I was out of town last week. People are calling me, texting me like, hey, Kenny, what's going on? Because I'm the content data guy. And I said, remember guys, and so I kind of came up with a slogan this last week. I said, headline news are very emotional. So headline news like this, they can move rates up and down, but it's like temporarily. What moves rates down and stays down is what we're all looking for right now is going to be the data. And the data could be inflation, jobs, consumer spending, recession, things like that. So the data right now hasn't really changed to where we're going to see rates come down and stay down. So if rates come down or up and it's a reactionary thing, it's more just a headline news thing. It's tariffs. This person got elected. This happened. We might go to war. I think Powell said this. Whoops, he said this. And it's all headline. So once we get a certain thing in jobs and inflation and get certain numbers, you'll start to see rates come down and sink. It doesn't mean people can't manipulate rates down through different stuff. Too,
right.
So.
No, totally. Well, that's awesome. Some awesome background stuff to get in a mortgage.
So I got in 2008, and then basically Crystal kind of gave you background, similar background, came in, and then I met her, and then we were kind of figuring it out, and then we kind of built everything up since then. Started a property management company. She probably told you, sold that, got out of that because we want to have kids and a life. And then I've really gotten focused. When we sold that, I told her we're going to go into content. And she goes, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. So 4 months into looking, actually starting to like watch content, she turned me on to a guy named Gary Vee, who everybody's heard of.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I started to say, I'm going to get into this game, 4 months later, I was in his office on a 4D dive staring at Gary Vee in New York.
Wow.
And he looked at me and he said, hey, what are you doing here? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, what do you mean you don't fucking know? That's scary, right? And I said, I'm trying to learn this game, and there's 12 other entrepreneurs in the room, all different kind of walks of life. And he goes, tell me about your story. So I told him the whole story, which is a little bit more detailed than that, of how I got here and all the stuff we did. And he goes, okay, well, go back and just give it all away. I go, what does that mean? He goes, just go fucking do it, figure it out. And so figuring out was podcast, Reels, Instagram, all that stuff, long form, short form blogs. And, I've been creating content, I would say, for 4 or 5 years pretty aggressively. And then now I've really become as somebody said the other day, you're like the news anchor of the mortgage business. And even guys that are content creators in the mortgage space that are my friends, that are bigger than me, maybe a bigger presence, they always come to me and go, what's this, what's that? So I become like the data guy. I know data, I breathe it, I live it, I understand it. So I really understand the plumbing of the government and how things work, like money. So when I hear things, I just react differently because I know if it's going to move or not, the needle.
Right.
So that was it. And then that's how kind of we landed here. That's how I met Rich. So that's why a podcast, if somebody's like, why would I start a podcast? Something, it's like, you're here meeting me, you're going to meet other people. And I remember doing an interview with Cody Sanchez. You heard of her?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I had her on our podcast, and we got done. And in the podcast, she said, like, I don't take calls for best friends and stuff and give them advice anymore. I don't have time. She goes, go watch my videos, go read my books. Like, don't call me. And when we got off the podcast, I laughed. I said, hey, Cody, I'm not even your best friend, and you gave me an hour for free. And she's like, that's pretty smart. I said, just because I promoted you on my podcast, that's how I got an hour for free. She goes, that's a pretty interesting way. You're right, because I wouldn't give anybody else the time.
Sure.
So you get to meet a lot of great people because you're going to take their story, promote it, and you get this time with them,
Yeah, totally.
Which I loved.
Yeah, no, it's led me to meeting you.
Exactly.
Crystal.
There's no better way.
It's awesome.
It's amazing. That's why we kind of put it on pause. I'll revamp it, start it back up, but I miss that talking, meeting, and it's really it can help you grow your business, can help grow your brand, whatever you're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive right into the podcast. You've been in the game for about 17 years?
20 now,
20 years.
Aging myself.
But what got you started? And if you were 22, 23 today, like myself, with no clue where to begin, where would your first move be?
Yeah, so I got it in 2004, so about 20 years. If I was going to restart today, I would probably, whether I'm a realtor or loan officer, I would definitely go under somebody that's doing what I want to do, where I want to be, and just go basically, eat shit, eat crow, whatever you want to say, for probably a year or two, and get the foundation and learn like how to run a business, how to market, how to build, how to deal with customers, how to deal with problems. And you're not going to make much money, but you'll get a really good foundation. So if I was young, I would really focus. But you also want to make sure you're aligning yourself with somebody. It's like, if you're going to go under somebody that's 70 years old, that's, sending postcards to people, that might not be your model. So you'd want to align with somebody that's like, I like that they're using podcasts and social, and they have a brand, and they're crushing real estate. Like, you want to kind of like, I see myself doing their model, go under that. Don't go under a model, then you have to go learn a new model. You can go learn under somebody here in La Jolla that's like not really doing much Instagram, that's selling $100 million of real estate a year, but you're like, they just have they did the brand the old way. They did the postcards, the benches, the cards. Exactly, all that stuff, right? The Dream magazine. That's how they built their brand, because they didn't have social, they didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're young, find somebody that you like to be with and go into their team. And even if you're like, hey, go live with mom and dad, save money up, live frugal, live below your means, and maybe you got to work for less, but you're going to get so much more knowledge than you will trying to make it on your own. So that's why I say is like, go live at home, go work for somebody for pennies, learn it. And then when you go out on your own, you're going to be 10x better, 10x faster of growth, you know?
No, totally. And I know a lot of people I meet tell me that same thing. Stay at home, save money, learn as much as you can, right? Now, people that do make that switch and don't have the luxury of living at home anymore, what would you say
House
from
hack.
there?
Go live in a place with roommates.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, when I was young, I didn't have, but unfortunately, when I was young, we didn't have this internet and this. If I did, I would have definitely, you should be a lot farther along, a lot faster. I would have been. Because if I had YouTube when I was just a kid, I would have absorbed this. I love learning. So I even look at YouTube now. I'm on YouTube, just learning. You can watch stuff at 1.5, 2.0 speed. So when I consume a lot of data to learn, I know who to listen to. I can swallow 2 hours of data in an hour and get a lot. And we're talking, I can go watch, 10, 15, 20 different short clip interviews and get their different perspectives and take it all, put it together, and then take it in my own words and put it out there to my audience and say, this is how I see things based on a lot of people I respect and know, right?
Yeah.
And so I think because of the internet stuff, you have the ability at your age to hack time. Look how many podcasts and people that are out there giving all this great information that's free. You couldn't even get it. You couldn't even know where to find them when I was getting started.
Right.
So you can just move so much faster with knowledge. And knowledge,
yeah.
I always tell people, even clients, like Crystal and I did this thing. This is pretty interesting. So when we started building our brand, we hired this guy, Rory Vaden, which nobody's ever heard of. But I guarantee the next guy I'm going to mention, you've heard his name. You ever heard of Lewis Howes, or you ever heard of Ed Mylett?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So Ed Mylett launches his new book, remember, The Power of One, and his speech. Well, Rory Vaden is the guy behind all that.
Huh.
So a lot of people, Rory is called brand builders, and he helps people. They'll come in, and even Lewis Howes, I want to launch a book, I need to speak. He'll help them launch the book, write the speech, and go out. That's Rory. He's like a guy behind the brand. And so we went in a room and we're in real estate. They're like, okay, we're going to start. He didn't come. One of his partners came, and we're in this room, our last office is glass office. And we're like, okay, we got Friday and Saturday, 8 hours, nothing but sitting in here and figuring out all our brand, how this all works.
Right.
Okay, first question we have to solve before we move forward. No problem. It's going to be easy. What problem do you solve? Oh, easy. We do loans. Nope. What do you mean, no? That's the problem we solve. Nope, that's not what it is. And after, I'm like, how long is this going to take? So we can't move to step 2 until you solve this problem. So the problem we realized in our industry, you're in real estate, I'm in real estate, we're talking about real estate, is we solve the problem of insecurity. So people that are like, should I buy my home? Should I list it? Should I sell? Should I refi? Should I this? They're coming to you. They're coming to me because they don't know. They don't have the confidence. That's why they hire an agent. That's why they're a loan officer. If they had the confidence, they just do it themselves. So we realized we solved the problem of insecurity. So when I started talking to people or sending out content, that's what we do. So it goes back to what you're saying is right now you're saying, hey, Kenny, I'm young. Somebody's watching this. I'm 22, 23. I'm really kind of insecure because I'm not sure what I should do. But as you gain knowledge, you gain power, in that. But then at the end of the day, you gain the confidence to say, I'm going to make a move, make a decision. Like you came down here, your story, you came down here to move. Well, you probably did some research, homework, whatever, but there was something there that gave you the confidence to do it. So as I'd say, when you're younger, that's why I say get around somebody that's already doing it, because you're going to move faster, you're going to learn more, but you're also going to get that confidence to be like, I'm ready to go on my own faster. If you do it yourself, you might trip and fall for a lot longer, and it might take you longer to get there. Not everybody, but statistically, that's the better model, right?
Right. And I like how you bring up that our actual job in real estate is help with insecurity. I didn't even really think about it that way, because I've been taught with my sales manager and coaching, like, we got to make sure there's complete clarity in the next steps, or else no one's going to be able to understand, like, where am I going? Because no one thinks like what we do. It's clear in our head, but not in theirs, because they don't think real estate. So I like how you bring up that point.
And you got to dumb it down. Like Danny here on my team, we shoot right before you walked in, we're shooting content.
Yeah.
And so the rule in the office now is she didn't know real estate. She came from a different background. She came in here. If she doesn't understand what I'm talking about on this 30 or 60 second reel, then the person that doesn't know real estate, it's not going to. So if she understands it, then probably the audience will understand. So we have to dumb it down so much. It's like people are like, what's a 30-year fix? What do you mean with refi? What's that? Okay, purchase. I kind of know what a purchasing. Like, how does that work? And so like the number, do you know like the number one statistic thing of people buying a home? Do you know what the number one insecurity is? It's the process of how they go through it.
Wow.
It's 56% of people. And then the second thing is how to find the house. It's not, am I going to get qualified? The first thing is I don't understand the process. The second thing is what's the best way to find a house? Am I going to find a house? Those are the top two insecurities. And you and I might think differently. How do I know this? Because I just look at the data. I look at the studies. And one of my monthly reports, it was in that I do a monthly webinar. And so when you start understanding the consumer and things like that, like you said, we have to talk to the consumer, but really like, it's like I talk to people now and they'll, your first conversation like you, they're going on, I want to buy, I want to this, you're listening to them ramble and rant because they want to get it out. And then I literally now go, yeah, I understand. Look, guys, it's very simple. I understand that you're really insecure in this process. And they're like, that's it. That's it. And I said, the good news is we're going to take you from insecure. We're going to get you pre-approved. We're going to get you knowledge. We're going to answer all your questions. We're going to get you comfortable. And then guess what? You're going to be confident. So when we go through just this whole process, before you even start looking at a house, you're going to go from insecure to confident because you're going to know your numbers, you're going to know your payments, how much it's going to cost, the whole thing. So when you go talk to your real estate agent, you're that much more confident. You're that much more comfortable. And for you, it's nice to be delivered to a client that's like, oh, wow, they have all their stuff. Now let's go shop. Like, why? Right. No, I shouldn't be looking at that home because that's not going to work. I should be looking at, they should know. Right, I coach them like, you shouldn't be looking at this. Why? You can't go look at a condo with an HOA of $1,000 if it's only $500. So if he shows you $1,000, just tell him you can't do that.
Yeah.
So totally. If you don't coach them and tell them, they're just going to start, I thought I could look at anything,
Right.
I know I'm rambling, but I think the point is like, if you're young and started, and I think, your questions there, it's the faster you get a client to feel comfortable and confident with you and you give them that knowledge, is the faster they're going to become your client and you're going to move forward.
Right.
And I've just gotten better at that over my career because I've literally started really thinking about that more and more as like not like probably 5 years ago, not 10 years ago. And why? It's because of social media, podcasts, all this stuff, all this free content that's out there. The best thing to learn from is the competitors, your competitors that are better. Go watch them interview. We're interviewed right here. You're interviewed over there. You're giving away the nuggets. Right. They just think like, you're not going to go do what I do. You're just too lazy. The average person, because the average person is.
Yeah.
But the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% that does it, that's why they're on top.
Totally. I like how you brought up back when you were talking a moment ago about the top 2 things a client is really concerned about. I also, with agents, I found was communication was their number one issue.
That's so, if you want to reverse it, Tom Ferry did a study. I think Tom Ferry, somebody interviewed 10, 15,000 agents, or 25, somebody did 20, it was like 10 to 35,000 agents.
Right.
The number one complaint for agents to lenders was close on time and do what you say and communication. It wasn't, you don't give me deals, you don't give me marketing, you didn't bring me donuts, you didn't take me out to a closing dinner. They don't give a shit. It's like, close my deal on time, and if there's a problem, can you just communicate? Don't lie to me. Don't wait.
Yeah.
So you knew about this problem a week ago and you're telling me now? Like even my team, they wait a week. I go, you're telling me this now a week? I get pissed. So I'm like, now I got to deliver news to you or a client. Like, why didn't we tell them, if we thought we could fix it, okay, but now all of a sudden it's like, at least let your agent know, So I agree with you. Communication's like, even with lenders, underwriters, the whole thing. It's totally, communication and everything, relationships, everything. People are like, how do you work with Crystal? So you learn how to communicate, how do you live and how do you 24/7? Like you just learn,
Totally.
It's practicing, it's failing,
That's right, yeah.
You're only learning when I tell people right now, if you're suffering, your business sucks, you're like, this sucks, it's hard, we're all there. Even if somebody's like, that guy's doing good, he's, okay, cool. You don't think it's harder? You don't think I'm working 4 times as harder for the dollar or 4 times harder to close deals? But what I tell people is, this is when you're getting your master's. This is when you're learning. You got to think about, this is when you learn. This is when you should be like, when you don't have extra time, go learn, get better, be better. And we could talk more about that, but it's like, people are going to look back at this time as like a realtor or anything, and you're going to go, I had more time and I didn't take advantage of it. And I think about that every day because I'm doing so much of redoing my process and my team and making them better. I'm getting ready for 3x the volume. Everybody else is like, I'll get ready when it's here. I'm ready.
Right.
Not just from a mental, not just from a staff, from process, from tech, from the whole, okay, if I get 3 times bigger, how are we going to produce the content? How are we going to do this? Can we still maintain it? How are we going to give customer service? Like, how am I getting back to my clients? Like, who will we have to hire? Like, you should know all this stuff, right?
Totally. Yeah,
so if I just said, hey Tristan, now you have 10 listings tomorrow. How do you deal with that? You're like, I don't know. You're like, you should know. If you have 5 listings, could you still do your podcast? Could you still shoot your reels? You're like, I don't know. I've never done that. Shit, I haven't tested it.
Totally. Shoot, now you bring that up.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about it.
Because a lot of coaches, a lot of people don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
Just like we tell clients, I said, play house. What do you mean play house? Say you're going to buy $1 million house, you're going to put 20% down and your rent, you're living with your mom and dad, cool, and you're paying 0 money. You're like, you haven't even, all of a sudden you're going to go from 0, now you're going to pay $5,500 a month. Then you have this bill, that bill, this bill. Why don't you start take out of your money and pay $5,500 in this bill, and then, so would this happen and that happen, play house, act like this is what it's going to cost, and then put that money aside and go, wow, it's a lot less money I have every month. What does that feel like? What do I cut? Do I cut the movies, the eating, the drinking, what am I going to cut? What sacrifice am I going to make?
Right.
Just like you just said, what sacrifice am I going to make as a young real estate person to get ahead? Is it live with mom and dad? Is it go be roommates with 5 people in a house? Like, if there's the option not to, like, what do I do? Like, play the role.
Totally.
Practice. Because when, like I always tell people, look at Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
They don't just show up. 30 guys can't defeat 300 people by not practicing. They're practicing. If you know Navy SEALs, I know a lot of them, it's every day, all day, it's nonstop. They're training like they're in battle. And when battle comes, they're like, don't worry guys, we practiced this 50 times. I'm sure your first time in battle, you're nervous, but that's when you talk to them, you get to hear, yeah, it's just what it is. They're ready to go.
Totally. Well, going along with the podcast here, I kind of took a look at your social media and, stalked a little bit, watched your videos.
Yeah.
And I know you talk a lot about building cash flow in them. Why do you think so many young go-getters are kind of sleeping on real estate as a way to buy passive income, would you say?
You mean just like young person in general, or anybody in real estate, or?
Yeah, like someone like my age keeps bringing up the idea like, oh, I'm never gonna afford it. No, it's not a great way to make passive income. I could do it through crypto or stocks. Why do you kind of, based off what you've been seeing and through the numbers and data, feel that someone in my generation, Gen Z, is maybe not wanting to get into real estate now, be that go-getter and make it passive income that way versus...
They don't know what they don't know.
That's true, yeah.
So for example, we are fortunate enough to know a lot of very wealthy people here in San Diego, big, large apartment owners, real estate investors, things like that. And they would always make the comment, get in the game, get in the game, get in the game, get in the game, then come talk to me. What do you mean get in the game? Go buy a deal. Just buy a deal. Conversation's gonna change. Mindset's gonna change. So what you're saying is, hey, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. But then all of a sudden you look over here and, Mary or Joe, they're the same age. You're like, well, how are they doing? They're making the same income. How are they figuring it out?
Right.
So a lot of it's, number one is fear, insecurity. We're going back to that. You don't know what you don't know. And sometimes, honestly, like when you're young, a little bit of naive, a little bit of balls, a little bit being dumb and just jumping in, like you might make mistakes, but you might make mistakes. You might lose on a deal. Like we've lost a lot of money in partnership deals, not our deals, a lot, millions. Not equity, money out, money earned, money out. And so you got to try, you got to learn, right? So I think to answer your question is, there's stocks, there's crypto, there's all types of stuff, right? There's putting money back into you. Like right now, you might, maybe you join Rich's Mastermind or whatever, you're investing back in yourself, which is probably, if you go talk to Grant or Patrick Bet-David or all these guys, they sit down, they're like, hey, I'm this, how much money you have? They're like, the best thing you could do, Grant would probably tell you, somebody, it's like, go take the money and invest back in yourself and 10x yourself.
Totally.
Like for me, it's like, you go from You're in your 20s, you're single, then you might get a girlfriend, then you might get married, engaged, and forget the work part, right? You're going to move up this ladder of life. And then next thing you know, you're here, you're like, I'm married, I have kids, I live here, and my lifestyle's gone up. And then you're like, how did I get here? And you just blink. And a lot of people go like, how did I get here? And you meet people in life, you're like, I'm 50, you're like, yeah, I should have started buying real estate.
Wow.
Instead of back to train and go, this is probably going to naturally happen in your life. But once you get to a place where you have kids, you get married, kids and that, unless you want to be a shitty dad, shitty father, shitty husband, you've got to, you're going to have so much time.
Right.
So I get up at 3. So if you back up to 22, I can tell you, you're never going to get this time back, ever, ever. You're never going to be able to be so selfish in your life and give away your time than you have now. Never, ever, ever. Because like right now, if I want to go be selfish, that means I'm taking time away from Crystal, my kids and that. Is there times I do it? Absolutely. There's times where I'm like, hey, I'm working on project this, and I'm like, but I also sacrifice myself, my sleep. I'll get up at 3, I'll come in here. Sometimes I'll get up at 2. I'll come in here and work, and I'll be back home at 10 o'clock. I've worked 7-8 hours on a Saturday. Purely focused, no distraction. You know how much shit you can get done?
Yeah.
So I just learned how to block, but I'm also like, I'm not gonna just, so there's people right now that are working for Doge. I'm bringing up Doge. Yeah. They're literally running a company. They're still running the company, working 7 days a week, 15, 18 hours a day, and said to the family, I gotta go leave because I gotta do this for the legacy, for the, like Elon called me or Trump called me or whoever, and said, I need you to fix this mess. You're the only guy that can do it. I need you. They're like sacrificing your family, everything. Is it worth it? So for you, this is the time. You could go work 20 hours. You can go side hustle. You can go kill yourself. You can go buy a deal and fuck up a deal. And you're like, oh, well, I can recover.
Right.
And so what I will tell anybody, whether you're doing crypto, stocks, real estate, doesn't matter. Whatever you're going to do, go, you have time, go spend the time to learn it. I don't even mean you have time. You have 24 hours a day, 168 hours a week, whatever it is, make the time. Go say none of this shit. Like, I mean, there's people I've met on my podcast. One guy I'm thinking is like, he's like, Kenny, I wrote this whole, he basically does this online business stuff where a lot of people help people with VAs and a lot of back end stuff, and he's crushing it. And he's like, yeah, I wrote this whole program that he sells. I go, how'd you do it? He goes, I literally locked myself in my house for 8 days straight and worked 18 hours a day, did nothing, and just wrote it and got it done and launched it, and it makes him 7 figures a year.
Wow. But
he goes, I go, how many people are gonna do that? He goes, none. They're not willing to do it. They're like, well, you gotta do this and that. He goes, look at Alex Hormozy. He's writing a book. I get from 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock. He has earplugs in, then earphones, no music, and works and says, F everything. Everybody's like, how does that guy do that? It's very simple. So it's just, I'm the guy who gets up at 3. This is just what I do. I've figured it out. So for you guys, when you're young, forget about, I know you're like talking cash flow. It doesn't matter if you're trying to build your business, build a crypto, build a stock, build a real estate portfolio, whatever you're gonna do, go focus and learn it and be a master at it, and then go do it. If you find a good deal and you don't have the money will appear. Why? Because if you have a great off-market deal, you can go find a partner and be like, oh shit, I'll give you the money. Damn, this guy's a no-brainer. You can find them, like the money appears when the deal appears,
Right.
And so I think that's the mistake, is people just think like, so back to the story is when you build it now and you become our age, which I wish I'd have done 10x more, but at least I've done something. It's just a game changer. It's a life changer, because you're like, thank God I did all this work. I thank my younger self, because you will, like your friends, you'll never ever, when I say get this time back, you'll look back and you'll go, I wish I would have traveled less, would have gone out less, did this, did that, this, that. You will, trust me, if you're a person at a certain phase,
Right, totally. Wow, that's a lot of great insight. Like, don't even look at it, the numbers on the paper, unless it's like data supporting your knowledge, the input into your brain, and learning from other people.
Yeah, so just go all in. That's what Alex Hormozy is like. Just go all in. If you're a real estate agent and then you want to figure out how to buy real estate investing, and you're young like you, yeah, it doesn't mean you can have a little bit of life. But like, this is the time. Go master it. Go all in, because you don't have any responsibilities technically.
Right.
There's no kids. There's no wife. There's do you even have a dog or an animal?
No.
Yeah, that's a responsibility.
Totally.
And responsibilities, when they come, it just
adds up.
Yeah, and also more pressure, different. You got to think different. You can't be as risky with your time, with your money.
Right. That's a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now it's like motivating me to
Yeah.
push myself even more than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But going through the podcast a little bit more, I know you've helped fund over $1 billion with a B.
Yeah, a couple
loans.
billion. Yeah. With Crystal and I, it's about $4 billion.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
I know for someone in like their early 20s where they feel like home ownership and investing is kind of out of reach, what would you say is the first step they should take?
Somebody that wants to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out of reach. It is right now. Unfortunately, it is, right? I mean, 34% of people that are self-employed, they literally never try. They think, I can't buy.
Yeah.
They don't know about bank statement programs, 1-year tax return, P&L, all these other things, like the non-QM, for example. They just say, I can't buy. I'm reaching out to that client. That's one of my avatars. I'm trying to coach, train,
nice.
go, hey, there's a chance here. And I get to meet people all the time where I get to go turn the no into a yes, for example. Then you have first-time home buyers, right? And so let's talk about that. Let's go through a couple scenarios. First-time home buyer, number one is husband, wife, young, maybe have a kid. They only make so much. They don't have so much saved. And they're like, I'm paying $2,500 in rent, but if I buy, it's $5,000. Is that dumb? Could be. You could just say, I'm comfortable paying $4,000. I'm not going to pay that much. That person might have to wait until the rates come down. And then they're like, that's it. Or does that person go, can I house hack? Can I buy a 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit? Put the money down I have, rent out the other units. Can that make more sense? Could I do the ultimate house hack where I do vacation rentals on them? So, right, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm paying $2,500 in rent. I know this sucks, but a lot of people are doing this. I'm gonna go live back home with mom and dad for a year or two. We're gonna stack more money. We're gonna stack aggressively. We're gonna live like frugal. And we're gonna go be able to save another $100,000 and put that down that I can afford something. So I think a lot of it right now, you know, here in San Diego, I'd say 70% of the people that buy here are getting money from their parents.
Most likely, yeah.
If you don't have that, maybe you got lucky and bought Bitcoin Treat and you have some money that maybe you have a stock, right? If you don't have any of that, you got a house hack, go live back with your parents. If not, you got to save up. And some people just scrape, claw, and get into a house and they've hit it where they've got equity and that's what they do. Some people also bought a house and they're like, shit, this is a bad idea, I regret it. Let's just be honest, right? There's a lot of people out there reading articles saying I regret buying a house, I think because they felt like pressured into it by their own self, by media, like I gotta buy because my friends are and all that. Sometimes it's like, don't feel pressured. The other thing is maybe you're like, you're not gonna buy a house, maybe you just buy investment property. Maybe you go partner with 2 or 3 friends and buy an investment property and you just rent and you do that.
A lot of different scenarios.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely. So there's never one road. It's just what road are you gonna take?
Totally.
Right? So there's multiple roads in the real estate game, right? And so partner, individual, mom and dad help, maybe mom and dad are partners. That's what it is. And so I'm listing all these. I work with all these clients. We've done them all. And that's kind of like how I look at it. Is the other thing is too, is I hate to say this, but again, if you're young, I literally have clients that had a job, made good money, and then literally they worked Uber on the side for 3 years, worked X amount of hours, they had it down, and all the money from Uber stacked cash and they bought their first place, and then they're like, I'm done with Uber. I had a guy who saved up $150,000 from Uber on the side. I don't know how many years he worked, and had his here and just took that money and saved, and he's able to buy it. Then he ended up keep doing Uber because like, I'm gonna do another house hack. And he's like, I'm just gonna kill myself while I can, because he wasn't married, nothing. He was just like, I have the time, I'm doing it.
Wow.
I wish I had Uber when I was younger. I would have probably been like, I can make more money. Like, I mean, when I got into real estate, I was still working at a restaurant and working mortgage. And I was working 100 hours a week until I knew I was going to do it and saved up and all that. Like I was going to make sure like, this is what I want to do. I couldn't just pivot where I'm like, if it doesn't work out, like I had a good gig. So I was like, just do this at night, do this in the morning. And I just did that. I had the time, energy, and I was like, I don't have any responsibilities.
Right, totally.
Responsibility is like get from here to there, right? Keep moving the needle forward.
Yeah, right. That's Awesome. Part of your mortgage brand that you've built, you've told me you've built a whole social media presence online.
Yep.
To be able to educate people in the mortgage business. Now, how has social media helped you grow your business and brand? And what do you think really matters most trying to stand out and build trust online?
Yeah, great question. So social media is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing the game right now. So I would say a couple things. Let's talk about real estate in general. So let's say we called Tom Ferry right now and got him on the phone. And then let's say we took a Ricky Carruth. You know who Ricky Carruth is?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
And then you'll take a Ryan Serhant. You know Ryan
Yeah.
Serhant. If we called all three of these guys right now and said, what's the best money maker still for you? Is it referrals? Is it social? Is it cold calling? Is it open house? Like, is it email? What is it? What do you think their answer? Where do you think this number one source for still generating income for realtors, not even me, is? What avenue? Marketing avenue.
I think it's open houses and sphere of influence.
Emailing.
Really?
Emailing your database is the number one source.
Wow.
Tom Ferry. So, answer your question. My email game has been tight for a long time. So, number one, let's go to the basics. I say 3 things if you're starting this game. Learn email, send at least 1 email a week. Don't tell me you're at Compass and you're sending me some apple cider vinegar recipe or no. Like you said, value, separate, right?
Right.
So you could get on my email game, whatever. I could show you. I'm doing a blog, and I do a thing called The Brief, which it's a video of me that goes into YouTube, and then it has my rates, but I talk about a topic. Like last week I talked about, which is kind of funny, I know it's kind of going in my community, I'm hearing a lot of feedback. I talked about one of the biggest mistakes that real estate investors are making in California right now is illegal ADUs. They don't know that if you have an illegal ADU and somebody's renting from you, that they could sue you if they find out and you pay all the back rent. And people are like, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. And so I think about I have so much knowledge because I've lived in this world and I want to learn it. I think about what is something I can teach you guys that could, right? So the blog on Sunday could just be, I broke down why it was the other weekend, I used ChatGPT, but I broke down tariffs. Like, how do tariffs come apart? And I went through the whole thing, the history of how we got here at tariffs. Wow. And then people are like, wow, that's a great breakdown. It could be something like that. So email is great. I would say once a week, inform your database, give them value, give them something, use ChatGPT, search the internet. That is tell them a recently closed deal, show them your reviews, get in front of email. The second thing you're gonna wanna learn is how to talk in front of the camera. What we're doing right here, video.
Right.
You need to learn video. If you're not comfortable with it, well, get over yourself and get comfortable. The way you get comfortable with is do it over, like your first podcast to this one, you're probably a lot more comfortable, right? Yeah. Even though you're coming in somebody else's office and space, and it's weird. I can make somebody very comfortable in a podcast because I've been doing this so long. I'm just talking. I don't even, the camera's there by this time now. I don't even see the camera there. It's like I'm talking to somebody, right? Yeah, totally. So you feel when you get comfortable. Trust me, guys, my first videos, they were horseshit crap. Chris was like, this is weird. I was trying to put like a coat on. I'm like, this isn't me, It's just doing something that I'm not, right?
Yeah, right.
So learn video. Number 3, let's talk about social. Pick a platform. I would say first off, pick a platform. Don't start going, I'm gonna do everything because everything means you're gonna do nothing. Pick a platform that you're gonna own and commit to. And that's the thing, is when you take all 3 of these and what's the common denominator, the one important thing is consistency is the key. So when you might start off, let's talk about starting off social, like me. You started off, people are like, what are you doing? What's all this shit? Why are you posting this? Like, I went from nothing to like all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
People might be like, what are you doing? Why are these videos? Of course, people first go question you. Then they're like, this is ridiculous. Like, maybe they say that. But then all of a sudden they go like, holy shit, Kenny's being consistent. Holy shit, that was a good video. He taught me something.
Yeah.
Then now I walk around everywhere. It's like, I'm the content guy. I'm the guru. I'm the guy. I don't say this, they say this. So when I see people in a while, like all the time, they don't go, hey, Kenny, they go, hey, I saw this, I saw that. I feel like it's always a reference to social. So what does that mean? They're like, you're everywhere. So by now I've done this so much. I've done probably hundreds of millions of views on all my stuff. When you add it all up, it's leaked everywhere.
Wow.
And so how does it affect my business? I'll give you a perfect example. So now I have YouTube, Instagram, I have blogs, I have all this crap. So you're a potential customer of mine, you get referred to me, I've never talked to you. This is pretty much how a conversation goes. Hey, Kenny, I got referred to you. Oh, cool. Oh, by the way, I looked you up. Oh, I watched a couple of podcasts, I watched your reels, I read some blogs, this, that. They're like, wow, I definitely want to work with this guy.
Cool.
Do you have any questions about me? Nope. Okay, you want to get into it? Yep. Now here's the next guy. Can't find you, know nothing about you, don't know your personality. So you got to tell me all about you, why I'm going to use you. Now you got to sell yourself instead of them just going to
Totally
watch this stuff. And so that's one thing. Number two, you're leaking everywhere, people find you, so that helps. But also too is you get to a point where there's a status or put you people on this pedestal, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm being real transparent with you right now. Like, it's awkward to say that, but you become your celebrity or whatever, your own thing. But also remember, when you get to this point of the game, I tell people, you're in you're in a ballpark or a stadium. There's 20, 30, 40,000 people in the stadium. There's like 500 people on the field. I'm on the field. I'm not in the stadium. I don't really live in the audience. I live in the game.
right.
When you live in the game, I have constant pressure of performing for you guys.
Right.
Because I put it out there that where is it? Where's the next email? Where's the next podcast? Where's the next brief? Where what happened?
Yeah.
And they're waiting for it and they expect it. So once you get there, then it's like
You can't stop.
you can, but that's what you become.
True.
So and somebody told me that, so I'm at the point where I'm like, who's my avatar? So when I told, let's go back to Gary. Gary's like, look, at first you're
Right.
going to suck. He goes, just put it out. Go, put it out, suck. And then you're getting to a point where you have pivotal points where you're like, I got to change it. I got to get a team, got to do this. And then now I'm at the point where me and other influencers in the mortgage space that are competitors, we're all friends at the top.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
I talked
cool.
to one this morning. Like he's probably the number one, has the best engagement. We're all friends. We all mastermind. We all help each other. We talk. We do lives. Hey, what do you think about this? What about that? What should, hey, this is what it is.
Dope.
It's called collaboration over competition, right?
Yeah.
And so at this level, you get that respect and you're in that, right? You get that respect, but so you get to be around all these guys, but you're just learning. So I just think if you don't do it, you're only going to be seen so much. Right. And then when the client looks you up, imagine they see all this stuff, they're like, holy shit. They're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They're like, most people go like, think about it. If somebody does zero content, they don't even post online, then they see you and you're like this, they're like, damn, you don't have to listen, just go listen to some of my stuff. It's like, right? Does he sound intelligent? I mean, I had a guy yesterday call me, he goes, hey, Kenny, we haven't talked in 3 years. He goes, I figured I'd call you because, I watch all your stuff. I'm like, well, Kenny could get this deal done.
Yeah.
This is a daily, weekly thing now.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that's why I know when the market turns around, I've been planting seeds, it's time to harvest. Like, it's just, I'm that much further. And I'm trying to get bigger, better, not for me, for them, for the audience. I want to educate more people. Like, I want to get more. The 34% that said I can't buy, yes, you can. I know not everybody, but there's a percentage you can, right?
Right.
The person that says, Kenny, I don't think I can buy a house because I don't have enough money or this, that. Are you sure you looked at every avenue? The loan officer you talk about, is he just like, oh, sorry, you can't qualify next, or is he an advisor? At my level, I'm an advisor. I'm not a loan officer, right? I'm like, you can tell, like, I'm trying to help. So
yeah,
that's why social is like, you become better and better. And remember, it goes back to, what problem are we solving? You can preach about that, because when you're talking, you're going from here to your mouth going, oh yeah, that's right. We're solving insecurity. Make sure I'm giving that message. Like, I'm coaching, I'm educating, I'm teaching. And like Gary Vee said, the new marketing is not marketing. And like, that's why his book, you've ever read the book, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. It's give, and then ask. So in my emails and in my stuff, I rarely go, I want your business, I want your loans, I want your referrals. But every once in a while, I bring in a hook. I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna be honest. Yep, I want your business, I want your referrals. Why are you not using me? Jab, 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 another hook. Jab, 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 hook. Not like hook, hook, hook. Nobody wants that salesy shit. They want, like you said, you want to educate, your guy said, we want to educate your clients. Clients that feel like they're being sold or this, they don't want it.
Right.
So social can give your brand, can give your image. People can see your personality. They can experience you before you even talk to them. How awesome is that?
Right. That's awesome.
You can't, you couldn't get that from past people, from a bench, from an ad, from a newspaper, from a fancy magazine.
Yeah.
No.
Now, do you tell your clients up front, like, we're solving your insecurity? And they're like, yes. Have you ever, like,
people,
straight up
a first-time home buyer will come on and they will say, they'll tell the story, you know, they kind of blah, 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 whatever. I just call it blabbing, but they're just, you know, I get this. They just like, hey, tell me what's the first. So when I get on with somebody, it's also your conversation too. We can talk about that. Conversation is key. I learned conversation from one of the top LOs in the country, just like watching him. When he closes more deals than anybody, more conversations, he's the best. He is. He funds $1 billion a year business. He's the best. So conversation matters. So my first question is, why now do you want to buy? Why now do you want to refi? Mm-hmm. If it's not a past client, if it's brand new, I'm like, hey, so tell me what's going on in your life, why you want to buy? Open question. Guess what they're going to say? Well, they're going to give me the little life story. And guess what I get to do? I get to figure out emotionally what's going on rather than, well, we just want to buy a house and this. I want to tap in the emotion, because if you get their emotion,
that's true, yeah.
There you go.
Boom.
And then they might come out with insecurity. I'm trying to tell them, tell me why you want to buy. Let me give you my quick. Some people are like, I read all your stuff, but I'd still like to hear your 60-second commercial about yourself, whatever.
Right.
And then but some people are like, okay, great. Here's the app. Here's this. Give me your stuff. Okay, get it in. No. Let's learn about you. What about you? What's going on in your life? Why do you want to buy? Why now? Oh, you having a kid? Oh, cool. Get some rapport. Get this. Get in there. Because like, I want to hear that emotion. I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear some rawness. Like, is there a problem? Is there this? Like, I got to get out of my parents' house. My mom's sick of me. Oh, okay. So, we need to get a place quickly. We're tired of renting. We're frustrated. Okay, so frustrated, move quickly. You're taking notes, right?
Right.
And then you're like, okay. And then, so tell me, then you can go into usually like, is there questions about the process? You understand the process? Is there anything that's bothering you? Like, is there some expectations you're looking for in a realtor or a lender? Like, let them blab. Yeah. And then you're going to start going like, oh, I've been screwed over. Okay, here we go. Here it is. So you try to do it. You got screwed over. This happened, that happened. And all of a sudden, you're going to start hearing the insecurities come out. That's when you can go back and say, hey, John, hey, Mary, look, you're with the right guy. I heard your story. Hey, I hear that insecurity in there. I hear that this or that. We're going to work on that. We're going to get that. But I always tell them, I said, they could be insecure. They could be all over the place. But I do remind them, I said, you're insecure. You're this. And I'll tell you this. It's not the first-time home buyer. It's anybody. It doesn't matter whatever level of life they're at. Why are you calling me? You're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Why are you calling me and asking me about rates?
That's true.
Why are you asking me about that? Why are you having me come in your office, Crystal and I, and go, I need to tell you what's going on, see if I'm doing the right moves. Why do you need me? And I said, do you want me to tell you? Huh? Yeah. You just want to make sure the moves you're making, you're confident with. And so in this point in my life, my business, I'm getting paid to solve problems. In this market right now, deals fall apart. I'm like right now when I'm solving, when you were here filling Crystal, it's like a lot of my deals I'm getting paid to solve problems. And I'm a very, very good solving problem in this mortgage business. I think I'm one of the best. That's my strength. And so when you deal the level of clients we're dealing with, real estate investors, a lot of stuff going on, moving, lots of transactions we do lots of transactions with one people. I mean, this year I'll probably do with a couple groups, 10 deals, like a lot. It's just, they have to trust you. You gotta bring the confidence, this, that.
Right.
So they're counting on you, right? So it's really like, I'm trying to give you that, but it's like, this is what it's all about. The game is You know, the know, like, and trust, but there's the know, like, and trust, but I feel like there's the confidence piece. Everybody wants the confidence.
Yeah. Everyone wants to trust the person, but also trust the process.
Yep.
To get that confidence.
And even when you're young as an agent, if you looked at an agent, if you went and saw an agent that's your age that started close to you and they're crushing it, you'd be like, what's the difference? If you really get down to it, you're like, what are they doing differently? And then you're like, maybe they just exude more confidence. Maybe they're just, how are they getting that client to say, go with them than that other agent? How did they win it over me? Like when I lose a deal, I'm like, what did I do to lose the deal?
Right.
I didn't give them confidence. I didn't answer the question. I didn't make them feel comfortable. Damn it, I got to learn from that.
Right.
Even at my level, I don't like losing, but I'm always like, hey, was it a better rate? This, that? Like, why did you not trust something? Like, I lose deals because of that too. As good as you could be, you're like, nope, I didn't get them.
Totally. That's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about this stuff because we're dealing, remember, one of the most stressful things in people's lives is moving. So when you acknowledge that, acknowledging things is like, hey, look, let's just state the obvious here. What? They're like, what? You just got married. You're going to have a kid. You just got a new job. You got to get my mom and dad's house. They're like, ping, 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 ping. I'm like, now you got to move. It's one of the most stressful things. And I said, what I know and then you don't know is that you don't even, the most stressful thing about this is 56% of the first-time home buyers are stressed about the process. And they're like, yes. And the second thing is, you're like, how the hell am I going to find a house? And the third thing is, can I even qualify for it? And they're like, does this guy read minds? It's like, no, I just know that most people I talk to, at some level, there's 5, 6, 3, 4, 2 things that's going on in their lives. That's why you ask, what's going on in your life? Why do you want to buy now? If you ask then your client, oh, we're going to have a kid. Oh, you're going to have a kid? And you're like, stress. You got to move. And you just start tapping in and maybe you can win them over. Like, I was going to go with the other guy, but God, I really liked you. You really just honed in and you really, we want to go with you. I feel more confident and comfortable with you. Maybe the other guy is just as good. You're like, what the hell did he say? What did I say? So I think when we're talking, it's like, we're talking about real estate. We're talking about people, helping them. We got to understand it. Totally. We got to get in their minds. And the people that are better marketers understand that. Like with me, I'm trying to with content, you go back to content, like I'm trying to exude that in confidence, like trying to give you confidence. Like you watch my stuff, it's like, shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. But also, I'm also trying not to confuse you at the same time. So I have to dumb it down. Yeah. I see that, I'm like, Danny, like, I don't know what the hell you just talked to. I'm like, I get it, but I'm like, okay, I got to dumb it down. I got to simple it. I can't say that. What is that? Don't say that. Okay. It's hard because I know what I'm saying. We live and breathe this, but to somebody else, like, what the hell are you talking about? Right. What's a 30-year fix? You don't know what a 30-year fix is? Don't know. Okay, you gotta explain what a 30-year fix. That's a loan that's locked in for 30-year fix. The rates stay, it's like, I gotta break it down. Okay, shit, I didn't know how to do that. They don't even know what a loan app is, or like, it's that simple. Yeah. I'm not really sure what my credit score is. Like, does that matter? Yeah, it does. I didn't know. Oh. So we gotta go back to the beginning. Depending on your avatar. If you're selling $10 million homes in La Jolla, the client knows what the hell what they're doing. At that level, it's customer service, it's do I have confidence you're gonna find me a home, or confidence you're gonna sell my home, and you probably came from a referral source, or why am I gonna use you, or it's privacy, this, that. But at the first-time home buyer level, or it's somebody that's coming in, first-time real estate investor, first-time home buyer, whatever, right? We've got to address those issues. Totally. Because I'm taking somebody to, it's a first-time home buyer, like, hey, I want to buy an investment property. Somebody said, I got to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, let's have a 30-minute conversation. At the end, sometimes I'm like, yeah, you're not ready to buy. Excuse me, you're not ready. Go home this weekend, go figure out how you're gonna answer these 5 questions, come back, and let's have another conversation. Who's this fucking guy? Hangs up, they go back and talk, come back. Wow, I'm glad we did that exercise. Okay, now let's talk. See the difference? I see the difference. That's why. So when I ask you, why do you wanna buy a investment property? I don't know, I'm like, that's not a good answer. Right. What's important to you, the investment property? I don't know. That's not a good answer. Like when they go back and think about it, talk about it, and they come back and answer the questions, they're like, that's a great exercise. I'm like, I know. You need to do that exercise. Going out and buying an investment property just to buy it, just because your friend did, and you want to tell everybody you own one, and then it's negatively cash flowing every month. Well, I don't know what's anything cool about that. Last time I checked, you'd like to buy an investment property that actually produces cash flow. Exactly. Like you just talked about. Yeah. That's cool. When I meet people that got 5 homes, let me guess, you make no money on them. Perfect. Why don't you sell them and consolidate and just provide something where you know you're going to make cash flow? Well, I don't know, you know. I said, I'm not emotional with real estate. So it's like, hey, you're asking me, I'm not emotional. I'm a business guy. Like it's simple, you know?
Totally.
So I think for us is we're going through this every day, but you got to remember that person that's emotional at some level. And then you got to break down like,
Right.
buying investment property is not emotional. We're not buying the primary residence where it's got to have this backyard and this kitchen and the feng shui is this, or, you know, all this stuff.
Yeah.
No, and I get it. Whether even as I am about that, buying where I live a primary is a liability. It's more emotional because that's where I want to be. That's where I hang on the weekends. That's where I go, you know, whatever. That's where you build your kind of life around. But investment property could be over here. I'm like, I don't need to go there. I just want to make sure it's a good investment, cash flows, whatever, you know, whatever the goal is you have, short-term, long-term stuff.
Right.
I think understanding that too. And so that's why a lot of people that are real estate agents, you try to go back and forth. You gotta understand if you're going to sell 2 to 4s or investments, you got to make sure you can help clients with that, solve that insecurity, that problem.
Right. Shoot, I don't even know how to follow up with that. But
No, I mean, it's just, you know, I'm rambling over here, but, you know, I think, you know, your podcast, what's the main message of your like, who's the audience? What's the messaging behind your podcast?
Totally. I started the podcast really to educate my generation and also myself too.
Yeah.
Getting into the real estate game as I am right now, starting off my first year, 2 years in.
Yeah.
And just being able to pick other people's brains that have been in the industry for a while. But like, what advice would you give to people just starting off like myself, or maybe someone that's still sidelined trying to get in, but they don't know what's the best way to get in? That's the whole reason why I want to go and educate people, my generation, to go in, because Rich has said it many times throughout all of his videos and podcasts. There's going to be the biggest wealth transition in the next 5 to 10, 15 years or so, and we're the next generation coming in. We should know this going in if that transition is going to happen very soon.
You know what's crazy about the wealth transfer? Females are inheriting more money than males.
Interesting.
I just learned that. I was like, So Crystal that does commercial, we deal with a lot of death, wealth transfer and commercial. It's much more greater, right?
Right.
Like, because of like, so we deal with people like 7 kids come in, they inherit all this property. They're like, they don't know anything. So you got to sit them down and be like, it's like you got to educate. You're like, that's a whole.
It's a huge beast.
You're selling. You're moving money. You're going to exchange this. It's like, and they're like, so I'm going to sell this property and I'm going to take $5 million exchange. And you're going to have somebody help me buy over here. And they're like, we got you. We have a client. I have a client doing that right now. I'm like, we got the dream team. You got the dream team right here. How? I'm like, because you got the dream team. The dream, because we take on that $5 million of a 1031. That's a liability to me and them, because if we don't perform, you're effed, we're fired, and this is not good.
Totally.
It's a bad position for you to be in. So there's not like the dream team has to perform here. The team SEAL 6 has to perform, right? Like that's how I think about it. Is that's where I go back to. That's the confidence. Like we had a client too that's selling 3 homes and moving, and he has we have connection between friends, clients are very wealthy. They're at such a high level. It's like trying to talk to Grant Cardone level, you know. It's like I said, they're telling you this, but we got to bring you back down to earth, and because you actually in reality have to go through this transaction. They're going to tell you should do this and that, but there's a lot of details with this and that. You know, it's like easy to go, you should go buy that. Okay, cool. How do I do that? Exactly. There's many steps. You got to sell the properties. You got to do this. It's like, right. So we got to stop and step it all out and get there. I said, the beautiful thing is at the end of all this, you guys are going to learn so much about yourselves, about the process. You're going to just get so educated. It's going to be unbelievable. Like that's what I tell people, when you buy a home, like, you know, you take somebody through the process, like the educational process of just a couple or a person. And when they buy a home, like when you talk to them again and they go, oh, I'm ready to refi, I always go like, do you remember when we first talked before you buy? Like, I know, I'm so much more confident. I'm like, isn't that nice? Like, yeah. I'm like, you know, give you that confidence? They're like, I said, nope, you did, because you went through the process. You can lead the horse to water, but you got to drink, right? You got to buy.
Exactly.
You got it because you went through it. I can give you confidence, but to keep it and gain it, you got to do it, you know?
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? So like the first time home buyer going, and that's why they're like, oh, this is great. Like, man, maybe we can buy an investment property, you know? It's like, it goes back to you saying like buying how we're stuck and not buying, it's the same thing. It's like doing, you got to do, you got to get in the game, you got to do. Once somebody buys a house, they might be a perfect candidate to be like, especially if they're making money, they have money, like, man, this guy should be buying investment property. You look at somebody, sometimes I call I'm like, doctor, I'm like, why aren't you buying investment properties? I'm like, what? I'm like, what's wrong with you? No, this seriously, I'm just transparent. I'm like, why? I want to. I'm like, why don't you? Well, this. I'm like, well, why don't I get you some good people and do it? They're like, you can help me with that? I'm like, yeah. How easy? I'm like, easy. How do you know? I'm like, because I've done this 100 times. Yeah. I'm like, yes, with other people. You want to do it? Here's an agent. Get them the right agent. This. Next thing you know, they're buying a place. Like, holy shit. And they're buying 3, 4, 5. They're like, holy shit. I didn't know I could do that. I said, because you didn't know. You didn't try.
That's true.
You didn't ask. Yeah. I just pull people out. I'm like, why aren't you doing that? So you could have a client, you're like, man, they could really buy it. They have enough money to buy an investment property. I want to do with their money. You know, another good question I heard is when you talk to them, person up front is like, who do you get your financial advice from? I was like, that's a great question. I just learned that a month ago. I was like, that is a wonderful question.
Yeah.
Because if it's a CPA, if it's an uncle, a dad, a financial advisor, I'm like, okay. But if it's CPA financial advisor, I'm like, maybe I want to go meet that person, and just to, hey, like to meet you. That's cool. They take your advice. They've gotten some great advice because based on what they're telling me, it's awesome. I wanted to meet you. Say congrats. Right. You know, maybe we can work together. If you have any help, like that's, right? I think for you too, the people at the youngest age I break out are the most successful, I would say, are people that have met the most people in the shortest period of time, called the most people in the shortest period of time, or just done something a quasi what you're doing here now, like this and meeting and that. Like I've seen people just grow fast. Like when you just start getting around people and that, like, it's like I get lazy here because I don't want to go places. I just want to create content. I'm very lazy. Like I don't want to leave here. I just want to work and there, and because I was doing a lot of that stuff. But then every time I get off my ass and I go here or here, and if I go here or there, it's like it's got to be some meaning and purpose at this point in my life at the time. But if I go, I'm like, damn, met that person, learned that, got that. Now you come back, I'm like, ooh, even so, God, I'm glad I went.
No, totally.
Right?
Like literally a couple days ago, I met my business partner in San Clemente. You think that's a kind of a far drive, but I did it. We do it every so often, and we went to this Better Buzz off the freeway, and we were working together doing our dials, and this guy asked us, hey, what do you guys do? Because he saw we had the headset on. Oh, we're agents. Oh, no way. And he's like, I'm trying to start my business right here with my family business. And we got in that whole thing. So you just never know who you're going to meet. Like as easy as a Better Buzz coffee shop in San Clemente.
Yeah. So one thing for me is I go back to this team. One thing for me is I realize when I get out in the general public and I get to meet people, I love it. But it's just doing, again, it's just time. I would do it. Like, because you can help people. You're going to meet people. Like you said, you never know who you're going to meet. Could be a client, could be a friend, could be somebody that's going to refer you things, could just be somebody that you pick their brain and get a couple of nuggets from. You just never know, right?
That's why I say yes to everything.
Yeah, at your age, you should.
I'm like, dude, I'm doing that.
At your age, you say yes. Yeah. You get older, it's harder, right? It just is.
Totally.
Yeah. But say yes to almost anything you can. Why not, right? What do you have to lose?
Right, exactly. Well, we talked a lot about towards my generation, the younger audience and my age group around just out of college till 25, we'll say.
So much opportunity for you guys. So much.
Yeah, and so I think the biggest thing we have, I've kind of leaped over this hurdle already, is mistakes, failure. And so what's a big mistake you see kind of young up-and-comers make when they're trying to jump into business or real estate? And what should they be doing instead?
That's easy for me. I see it with young, old, everybody.
Oh, okay.
They waste so much time on things that don't matter. And I think people know what it is. For example, people come into an office, they'll start jibber jabbing. It's like, but they have nothing going on. There's no deals closing. And then they see people with the deal, oh, you're always so busy. It's like, yeah, because I'm closing deals. I'm doing the money-making activities. Again, what's money making activities? Did you send your email? Did you do your post? Did you call your clients? You know, did you do your podcast? Are you doing YouTube videos? I don't have time. You closed one deal last month. What do you mean you don't have time? You have time. Again, you have to make the time. You got to do it. Even when you close 10 deals, you have to figure it out. I just think people waste so much time on all the wrong things, and they're trying to be perfectionists. It's like, it's funny, like about this podcast, right? Like, I love the setup. It's a simple setup. Like, let's just shoot the damn podcast, because it's like, it's what we're talking about that matters, not this plant or this whatever, right? You know,
Right.
It's like, but it's over perfection. So I just think people waste so much time on all the wrong things, and honestly, I see it in life. I see people at the gym, like, get in the gym, and like, it's like I want to go up and go, you've been here 2 years, you haven't made any gains. I haven't seen your body change. You sit on here, you talk, you chat, they go in there, it's like, do you even work out? And then you see people, and you see successful people that are like, they're just always on a mission, right? So I think the reverse that is, go find somebody that is successful and go watch what they do. And then go, I'm not doing that, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is like, you waste time. The other thing is, you'll get a deal. You'll get, like, in my business, they'll have 1 or 2 loans, and they just get the one loan, and they just spend so much time on the one loan. It's like overkill, because they have to babysit it, because they got to close that one deal, right? And so I knew people that it's like, they'll get one listing and they'll just stop everything else in their business and focus on the one listing, and they get it up, and then it falls apart, and they have nothing else going because they didn't do the money-making activities.
Right.
And so it's a big mistake, or they get caught up when a thing's blowing up, they get upset, it ruins their day, and then they just forget about everything else. And don't get me wrong, lots of blow-ups, things happen all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a team that helps, but it's constant, right? And it's just like, even while you're here, we're dealing with one right now. You didn't see it, you didn't feel it, like we're dealing with something right now. We're always dealing with something.
Right.
But I could have been like, hey, I can't do this today. No, you just manage it. So I think when you're young in this, you don't know what to spend the time on. You don't know that you're wasting time. You don't know that you're giving your time and energy to things that don't matter, or people that don't matter. So I'd say, like, try to make things count that are going to move the needle. Like, right? Like, you doing this podcast, yes, to waste your time, but it's like, it's a smart waste of time. Even though it doesn't feel like it, it's not a monetary thing. It's like, you're meeting these people, like, you're getting in front of people, right?
Totally, yeah.
And back to, like I said, with Cody Sanchez, it's like, she doesn't give her friends an hour, but you gave me an hour. She's like, pretty slick. I said, so I'm basically, what you're saying is I'm better than your best friends. And she laughed, you know, like I was joking, because she gave me an hour, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. And then remember, what are money making activities? Like we said, is, you know, knock on doors, call people, for sale by owners. You hit your database. How do you build your database? You should be studying your competitors that do better online, offline, whatever. Like, spend time in your business, on your business, the whole thing, right? You got to do it all.
No.
And learn about what the hell you're talking about. You should know a little bit about what's going on in the economy. Somebody's like, hey, what does that tariff mean? You're like, I don't know, who cares? They're like, what? Like, what's going on with rates? Oh, I don't really know. Like, know the basics. You know, if you don't know the basics, that's why a lot of people are like, I just follow you and I get my little update just watching your dumb ass up there, blah, 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 whatever, right? And so whatever it is, that's what you got to do, right? So you sound intelligent, like, and so the more you get your shit together and stop wasting time and bring that confidence and bring more value to people, your business will turn around. Because remember, if you get busy, if you don't have time for it when you're not busy, you're definitely not gonna have time when you get busy.
Totally. That's good. That's good. Now, as we're kind of wrapping up the episode here, I did want to ask one last question here. If you had to challenge someone just starting out, maybe someone fresh out of college, who's kind of sick of their 9-to-5, to take one action this week towards real estate or towards their business that they aspire to build, what would that be?
Well, they're in a 9-to-5 and they want to actually go start a business or do something, right?
They're sick of their 9-to-5, just graduated college. They want to start their business, start in real estate. What's the next step? What's the first step they should take?
Go spend, I know I'm going to use this number because it's like a number that's thrown around. You ever heard the number where they say go spend the 10,000 hours to learn it? You ever heard somebody say, I've spent the 10? Okay.
Yeah, I know, I've heard that.
Basically, it's not literally spend 10,000 hours, but go spend 10,000 hours and learn everything you can about becoming the best agent, becoming the best digital marketer, becoming the best appraiser, whatever, I'm just throwing, whatever it is you want to do, go study and learn it as much as you can on your off time. So you work 9 to 5 when you come home, you basically eat, and then you go into study, and you get up early and you do that, and you sacrifice. And on the weekends, you say, I'm gonna put in 10 hours of study, 20 hours of study. And you just become very selfish, and then you just go into that mode where like, and the one thing that people I think forget is there's periods of times in our life where it could be 6 months, 1 month, 1 week, 1 year, where you're gonna go into a very selfish, sacrifice mode, and people around you might not understand it. They might question it. They might think you're crazy. They might think you're stupid. They don't understand what you're doing. But then on the other side of the fence, when you get it done and you hit these goals, they go, how'd you do it? Can you teach me? Oh my gosh. And then you go, remember all that shit? Oh, that's what you were doing the whole time. Oh, shit, I could do that. So wait a minute, all you did is go all in and really focus and just basically sacrifice. Yep. So yeah, I didn't really see friends, this, that, and I kind of told everybody like, hey, I'm just going in, and I just made leaps and bounds. It could be your personal self-growth. It could be anything. It could be the gym. Anything, if you just learn, if you do that, it's crazy. Like if I tell people, if you just got really focused for 10 years, from 22 to 32, yeah, have fun, this, that, but really say, most of my life I'm focused. Get rid of all the bullshit, all this, and just focused, you'll probably be in a really, really good, happy, healthy place at 32, way far of most people that are 50, 60. But people, like I always tell people when you're younger, if you just, from 22 to 32, 23, 33, whatever, if you were just, even if you go talk to somebody that's 50, 60, 70, if you just focused and said, I'm gonna make some significant sacrifices in my life for these 10 years. And that doesn't mean you can't go have fun and travel and this, but you're like, I'm really gonna focus on this business or learning this, because you really then can set yourself up in such a good place. And what you're not thinking about now is that when you become like my age in the 40s, which is crazy, right? Because it gets there fast. You're like, you have kids, would have been nice if I had more money, had some cash flow, had this, had that, because you can't go back.
Right.
And you're gonna realize, I probably had a little too much fun in my 20s. I could have had a lot less fun and just done this, because what you think, oh, I'm gonna have fun in my 20s, which there's nothing wrong with that. You're also gonna have fun in your 30s and 40s and 50s and stuff like that. And it's really much harder to sacrifice that 10 years because you're tired, you're older, right? You're not as nimble. Right. Like we said, now you have 20 responsibilities instead of one. It's much harder.
Right.
And even with me is, I feel like Crystal and I really did. We look back, we're like, we would have done things a lot differently, done more. And so that's my biggest thing to anybody is, if you're just getting started, is think of it, sometimes that's 6 months, year, whatever. Like I said, at the beginning of the year, I went to Crystal, I said, hey, I've got a lot of stuff I gotta do. So for the next month and a half, I'm gonna be grinding hard. And that's 7 days a week, getting up at 3 and going really hard and coming home and working. And it's like, I'm pushing myself a lot. It's a lot on my body, because I'm like sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I just hit a wall. But then if I showed you how much stuff I got done, I started the year with a list of 100 things we had to get done. As I sit here right now, it's all done.
At the start of this year?
Yeah, it's all done, 100 things.
That's awesome.
A lot of it's like in this office and things like that.
Wow.
Just and it's organizing this, it's process. Like we had a list of like this, it's literally like between Danny and I and some other people, we just got it done. And when she looked at it, I said, we're gonna get this done. She goes, how? I said, we're just gonna get it done. And so now I go into this, now I've kind of out of that phase. We're recalibrating her, because she just came in late last year with me. And now I'm like, okay, we're recalibrating some stuff on the team and stuff. And it's like, we're going to now get ready to go on another run here. I know I'm gonna go on another 1 month, 2 month, whatever, where I'm gonna be like, okay, we're gonna hit it hard. And when I hit it hard, I'm like laser focused, and I say no to most things. And anything I'm saying yes to, I can tell you I'm going to say yes to this thing and this thing. It's because I'm being asked by some very high level people to be like, can you please be here? Sure. And I'm not even cutting my time short. It's not that I'm saving the world or something. It's because people respect it, but it's like, this is what I need to do to move the needle. And that's what a lot of people, when they're young, they just don't know that yet, because they haven't got their responsibilities, haven't got older, haven't realized, like, damn it, right. Time's limited. When you, like, tell people, when you have one kid, when you have no kids, you're like, I have all the time in the world. You have one kid, you're like, damn, I have no time. When you have two kids, like we do, you're like, holy smokes, I have a lot less time than I had one kid. And it's like that right now. You have zero responsibility. You will never have this time back. You'll only, if you go in that direction of getting married, right. Kids, that I'm sure you will. It's exciting. It's like, and life's exciting because right now we're in a place where we can travel, take our kids and do all these great things and have fun. And if I didn't, and I always, it wasn't me, but this guy I know, he always says, I always thank my younger self. And I'm like, now I'm like, yeah, I do thank my younger self for making some of these sacrifices, doing things. Even though I wish I would have done more, I still thank myself. And so now, wrapping, this pod up, if you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, I'm doing business, I'm not doing business, let's talk about what maybe is ahead. And what I talked about originally is a lot of people are wasting this time right now because they're slow. And the thing about real estate, which is interesting, is like, when I tell people when they become slow, they become slow. So I'm going to repeat that. When their business becomes slow, they become slow. Meaning they don't go, I'm slow. Oh my gosh, I have this opportunity. I should take advantage of it. I should go change my tech. I should update my database. I should start a podcast, get that YouTube started, whatever it is. What do? I'm just going to take my foot off the gas. I got a little time. And then, and this is what happens. When I have that time where it's slower, Crystal's over there like, I know what you're thinking. It's the holidays. Like you were here for a week. No. I'm like thinking, ooh, it's gonna be slower. I can get a lot of stuff done. That's how I think. It's kind of a cruel thing. But during this time while it's slow, I'm very good at like getting all this stuff done. And a lot of people aren't, especially in my business. And I tell people, they're not even ready. If rates drop tomorrow, which they could, and they stay there, I'm busier, you're busier, it's a lot busier. All this time you're gonna have, you wish you'd have set up this and done that CRM and this. If you couldn't do it then, you think you're gonna do it now? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get up at 3 and do it? Most people aren't gonna do it. Are you gonna stay up till midnight? No, you're not. And so right now, all those little bullshit things that you're thinking about that you gotta do that's time consuming, I don't wanna do them, and they're dumb. It's like setting up the CRM, your email, getting all this stuff ready. What am I template? How's it gonna look? All this, all the little crap that you gotta do, that 100 list I just told you about that you gotta do. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting? Are you gonna wait till you get busy and be like, oh damn, I gotta do this? No, get it done now. Because when you get busy, then get busy making money, doing deals, not trying to do all this other crap. So when I get busy, we're set up to go, just let's go.
Right, I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I'll leave you with, that's what the people at the top of this real estate game right now, if it's a little slower now, even if they're busy, they know they're gonna get 2-3x busier. They know that. Trust me, they're getting their shit ready. And how did I learn this? Because the number one lender, I was in a room and I asked him, CEO, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just getting ready for what's coming. So what are you doing to get ready? Overstaffed, this, that, whatever. I'm getting it all ready. Because when it hits this time, it'll be I told Crystal, they'll make 5 years of income in 2 years. I'll be able to, double, triple, quadruple my business just because the flow. There's 430,000 LOs. Now there's 95. If we have high rates this year, we might end up at 80,000. So I'm going to back my truck up to the gold mine, and there's not going to be many people there, and just start shoveling as fast until everybody starts showing up. You'll have less competitors in real estate too, because you made it through. That's what I said. You made it through. You made it through. You get rewarded. But you want to spend the time, like you. In fact, you're doing this now and doing the podcast. You should commend yourself because it's a very small percentage. Do you even know the percentages of the podcast?
Starting it?
1% only go past 10 episodes.
Oh, I did hear about that, yeah.
When I was with Pace Morby, we were at an event thing that Neil was throwing, Neil Dingra.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Neil.
Yeah, that's what we were talking. He was just saying, if you, and especially if you've done over like 100 episodes, you're like a 0.001.
Wow.
So you've already done how many episodes?
10.
Yeah, you're already in the 1%. Most people give up.
Wow.
Why? Because it's called work. Why? It's not work. It's because they're just not willing to sacrifice. But they'll watch Netflix, they'll go on TikTok, Instagram, all that. But remember, we need those 20,000 people in the audience to watch the players. There's not many on there's not many on the field. You think there is, there's just not. Neil Dinger always reminding the group, he's like, guys, you're following all the people that do content. Not many people do content, not at this level. It's just, you're just in that world. If you really back up and you go to a field, you're like, there's only this many people on the field playing.
That's kind of crazy to think about. Well, I do know like 4.8 billion people are on social media, which is insane. But only this amount of people are there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're producing, you know? And then that's the thing is you're just, like I said, it's free, it's sweat equity. But it goes back to just like, it's amazing how people it's the time, it's just sacrificing.
Totally.
It's just look at Rich. Since I've known Rich to this, like he talks about all the time, you see it, he's just focused. Cut the alcohol, cut this, cut the partying, super focused. Like I tell people like, we're not talking your whole life. You just get, if you're out of whack, just say no more partying, this, that, cut it out, get laser focused for a month or two. And when you get in, if you start, imagine if you start, I got 3 listening at this, all of a sudden you're like, wow, why would I get off this momentum?
Right.
So everybody has to find out what that is for them. But I know what it is for me now at my age. But honestly, we were focused, but I feel like I'm more focused ever in my life. It's because I've really, really thought about it and I really, really focused on it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice.
Totally.
It's not for everybody. But the faster you do that, the faster you're going to grow your real estate business, the faster you're going to help more clients, and the faster you're going to get to where you want. I mean, let's be honest. The reason why we're not in real estate for our health, we're in real estate to make money and real estate to help people. And, you know, it's like the more people you help, the more money you make.
Right.
Clients know that, you know, it's a very simple equation. But you go back to what are most people doing? It's like they're distracted with everything else but that stuff. I mean, you know how many people I've met with that have asked me how to get started in social media? I met with, and I gave them a playing plan. And if I met with 100, there's maybe 2 or 3 doing it. That's it. And they all said, oh, I'm going to do this. It's a very, very small percentage are going to walk away and listen to this podcast and do something about it. Right. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
When you understand human nature, you understand like if you're willing to do it, you'll be as they say, what is it? 10% make 80% of the income in real estate. This is why, because 10%'s hyper focused. The rest are
not there.
They're there, but it's a different level.
Right.
When you get to the level, and then I'm trying to go to a different level. And that's really systems, and it's like really honed, it becomes a little bit different to scale, right? But to get there initially, it's the focus. Right. Like I've seen people young, I'm like, how'd they get there? Like, dude, they just got laser focused. They made 4,000 calls. What? They called 4,000 people. They just scraped money, bought a deal. Values went up, bought another deal, It's just very simple.
Well, Kenny, appreciate you coming on the podcast. There's a lot of great nuggets here. Even I learned myself.
Yeah.
Like even the level up even too. Like, shoot, I got to make sure I'm doing more than what my competition's doing. Like, where are they at? Let me do that. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate you coming on as a guest, making some time out of your day and even sectioning off part of your office too. So
yeah, it's
really
been fun.
Appreciate that.
Hopefully somebody gets out of it. I'll leave you with this story. And then we'll end it. This is all I think you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
Lewis Howes was interviewing Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
And I never knew this. Kobe Bryant was playing in like a summer league or something, and he played the entire summer, never scored 1 basket.
Wow.
He's like, wait a minute, not one? He goes, not one. Kobe, wait a minute, you? Yeah. He's like, what'd you do? He's like, I went and found the best player I knew. I said, hey, how many hours you play a day? He says 2. He said, okay. I said, I'm going to practice 4. Came back the next summer, the best player.
Wow.
We're not building rocket ships to Mars.
Totally.
We're not trying to put a neuro chip like Elon. You can literally, in the real estate business, you could just literally outwork, hustle people. You don't have to finish college like me. It's just very simple. Like trying to get to those millennials, like you're, it's like, that's it. Like hard work, hustle. It really does. It grows. It pays off. You get momentum, and I hope that leaves with somebody that story where you're like, go study the greats, and you realize they weren't always great. They're like, they just worked their ass off, most of them, to get there, like majority. And then when you start hearing their stories, you're like, oh, they didn't have natural talent. Oh shit. Oh. Larry Bird was like the best. Oh, because he shot 6 hours a day free three-pointers. Oh, things like that.
Yeah.
Djokovic, tennis player. Oh, you weren't always mentally tough? No, I was terrible. I just practiced and practiced and practiced and became the most mentally tough player in tennis and one of the most, medaled players. Oh, so maybe I had this all wrong. So maybe I can do this. I just have to work harder, be more focused. It's not natural ability. It's just going all in.
I like that. Nice. Where can people find you after this?
Yeah, the best place is probably at kennybsimpson, Instagram. If
Okay.
you have questions, hit me up, DM me, whatever.
Cool.
Watch my stuff. I'm on there daily. A lot of stuff about data, what's going on, keeping in trends of the market, rates, all that. So I live in the data.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to our episode of Straight to the Point. I'm your host, Tristan Guerrero. Here's Kenny Simpson, and we'll catch you on the next one.